Alright guys, back with those easy fixes. I've already sort of dealt with the shoulder internal rotation issue. Go check that video out where I'm talking about wall slide and stuff like that. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about shoulder protraction. Okay, so if this is retraction, that's protraction, or slouching. Let's just call it slouching. Okay, so again, I'm at that seated position, I'm at that desk, I'm in a crappy posture, I'm driving, I'm eating food, and then I'm sleeping on my side. So personally, I'm a side sleeper, so it means that I have some pronation issues. It means I'm also likely to have some internal rotation issues. They sort of go hand in hand, but they need to be addressed differently, hence doing this in two different videos. So, shoulder slouching or crappy posture, okay? How I'm going to deal with that? First and foremost, if you take the areas that are being slouched, it's this area. Okay, so what is that? That's my bicep, some of my shoulder, and then my chest. So the first drill I'm going to do is I'm going to take a medicine ball and I'm going to self-myofascial release the bicep and the chest. Okay, it's the best way to open it, probably even better than stretching in this circumstance. So my trusty medicine ball. You can take a basketball, soccer ball, volleyball, any ball that's relatively hard. This is a good size though. If you're interested in self-myofascial release, I have an entire series on it. I've also done a blog of it, so you can go check those videos out on my YouTube channel. When it comes to bicep and chest self-myofascial release, you want to start out in the bicep. Now the arm has got to be up because therefore the line of the bicep, the line of the front delt, and therefore the line of my chest now all become straight. Okay? I don't want to have the arm up too high or too low. So, meaning I'm going to start with all my weight in my legs and hips. I'm going to start out in my biceps. I'm going to turn towards you, but again, keep all your weight in your legs. Now I'm going to roll from the elbow, okay, towards the shoulder first. I don't need to be too hard with this. You need to play with your thumb position, okay, to get the long and short head of the biceps. Okay, get that different angle. So that feels pretty good. Now I'm going to roll into the shoulder. I need to be a little bit careful with the shoulder. There's a lot more structure going on there. So if it's tender, you need to be somewhat easy on the shoulder. I'm going to start slipping into my upper chest. Okay, so just below the collarbone. If I find a trigger point, so an area that's pretty, tender, I'm just going to dig at it a little bit. Make sure you're relaxed and breathing. Don't be putting all your weight on the ball. Okay, so I've got most of my weight on the shoulder and legs right now. I may roll around now from the armpit, okay, over towards the sternum. But again, most of the rolling that I'm doing, or most of the self-myofascial release I'm doing, is in this direction. Okay, even when I started out in the armpit and traveled again to the sternum, it was in this position. I'm keeping horizontal lines because that's the way the chest moves. Okay, so I'm going to obviously do both sides when it comes to that. We'll just do that really shortly. So here I go with the bicep. Okay, and then I start working up the bicep, playing with my hand position. It's relaxed as much as possible. Rolling into the shoulder, rolling into the upper chest, which is tender. Okay, towards the sternum. Okay, and start back over in that armpit area, rolling towards the sternum again. Okay, so that's self-myofascial release of the bicep and chest first. Use any kind of ball that you like. So already, if we were talking about that protraction, slouching, or closing of the body, that has already done a great deal to open me up. I feel better, there's a relief, and a feeling that I can breathe better, okay? Still doesn't address the fact that there are muscles on the backside that are probably overstretched, probably incredibly weak, and for the most part don't even know how to neurally activate. So your brain can't even tell yourself how to posture so much because you're like this all the time. So this is important where you go to teach this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bench, okay? I'm going to be using kettlebells. You can use dumbbells. You could, put up a bunch of pillows and then do it on the floor as well. It doesn't really matter how you do it. It doesn't really matter how much weight you do it either. Personally, I like to do it for time. It's something that I will use as active rest, per se, between exercises. So maybe I do bench press and then I jump on here and do this kettlebell rhomboid iso hold, okay? So I'm just going to come over here. Set up as far as the bench goes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down on this bench. Now I want my head off the bench. The reason why, it's a good idea that I'm already pulling my head back. Okay? People that are slouchy, okay, or have that shoulder protraction, generally always come with a poke neck as well, okay? This desk posture, driving posture, eating posture, and sleeping posture all come with the ET poke neck. So it's never a terrible idea to put yourself in a position where I'm forced to shove my head back over my body. So I've got my head off this bench. Now, all I'm gonna do, I don't wanna raise my whole body off the bench. I'm just gonna take these kettlebells, drive them as high as I possibly can, and then I'm gonna try to tuck my elbows into my back pocket, okay? I don't wanna just pull up, because that's actually gonna cause more of a problem. I'm gonna be squeezing my upper traps, my neck, and my rear delts. Instead, I wanna pull the lower area. So for ladies, think about your bra strap clasp. For guys, think about the middle of your shoulder blades. So my elbows are tucked down. You'll see that there's a lot of length between my trap and my neck, okay? If you're doing it wrong, it looks like this, you have no neck. If I'm doing it right, it looks like my neck is long. I don't wanna look up, I don't wanna straighten the neck, I'm gonna keep it down, okay? My knees, my quads, everything's resting on the bench while I'm doing this. And I'm just trying to squeeze as hard as I can. These kettlebells will drop over time, and I'm just gonna try to raise them out. When I start feeling like that's too hard, I'm just gonna let it go, okay? That's probably one of my favorite drills. I find the more I do it, the better I feel, because again, I'm dealing with that shoulder protraction, okay, from a side sleeper standpoint. There's another drill, it's called a prone cobra. Okay, so I'm gonna show you that one. Now, with prone cobra, you're gonna be starting on a mat laying face down. I like this drill, I do prone cobras, but I wanna explain why the kettlebell rhomboid iso hold, okay, or the Batman hold, is better than prone cobra. Prone cobra, I'm gonna be doing, or trying to accomplish the same thing, where my thumbs are pointed up and I'm gonna be trying to squeeze my shoulder blades, okay? When you see prone cobra being done though, most of the time, you see it being done from the Superman or hyperextension position. Not that I have to, I can even keep my feet down and just focus on raising my shoulder blades and squeezing them, keeping my head flat. But the problem is that I could be accomplishing a lot of that muscle or that neural connection from the lower back. Okay, so watch what I'm saying. There's a huge arch in my lower back, even though the goal of this exercise is to be squeezing my rhomboids. When I'm up on this bench, okay, my arch is pretty flat. Okay, when I get up here and I get into the right position, I haven't hyper-arched my back. So, not saying that the prone cobra is a bad exercise, but for someone like myself, or a lot of fitness people, we tend to be heavily activated in this lumbar spine. So we get a little bit of lordosis. If you have lordosis, don't do prone cobras, period. So, kettlebell rhomboid iso hold, it will help you develop the muscles and the endurance in the muscles of that seated posture. So it's going to retract that whole system. Again, stay out of the neck though. Now, part of that retraction are the rhomboid muscles, the muscles between your shoulder blade. A big part of that too, in people that are slouching or protracted, is their front shoulder is greatly overdeveloped compared to their rear shoulder. So I need to then therefore isolate or address the rear shoulder connection with this. And this is somewhat where the prone cobra has an advantage, because I'm flexing from the rear delt into my rhomboids. But again, I don't want to be using that lower back. So how do I get that same action of retraction of the whole shoulder, including the arm and the rear delt being the primary mover, if I want to be using this movement and not prone cobra? So the solution is a band tear apart. So I'm just going to stand up. So you can take a circular band. Okay, I prefer a circular band. By all means, you can take a regular band. Okay, you can just wrap it up, and that way that's fine. This drill has saved many a shoulder problem, especially when it comes to bench press. So something worth giving a try on its own, even if it's something that you just don't even have an issue with shoulder protraction. It might be a good idea to do this anyway to offset some of the heavy pressing or push-ups that you may be doing. So I'm going to take the circle band. Okay. I just need to grab it. Now, being that it's a circle band, I don't want to grab it like this where one side is soft and the other one is not. I want to make sure that it's pretty even. Band tear apart, the idea behind this, literally, tear apart the band, pretty simple. I'm trying to get my hands, or the L side of this, behind me as much as I can. Okay? It is going to slap the chest, it doesn't hurt. Okay? I never really go to a position where I let it go slouched. Okay? I keep that band tight most of the time, stay tall in my body, try not to bring my lower back into it again. So it's also a really good idea when you're starting out with this, or if you know that that's a weak movement and you grab a light band, if you're really struggling with this, go look in the mirror when you do it. The reason why, sometimes when I teach this to people the first time they do this, okay, because they don't realize that that's what's going on in their neck. So go watch in a mirror that's even. Okay. Best rep range I found is 25 to 30. Find a band where you can accomplish that rep range. That may be something extremely light, and you're going to find that the shoulders now, I feel propped up. I feel like I'm heavily retracted. Okay, and this is something I have to work with myself. Is a lot of retraction to combat that 6 to 8 hours that I'm sleeping in a ball, or sitting at the table, or blogging away. So, any more questions, guys? Let me know.